Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fabi. If you're new around here, you're watching Arrows DIY, where I love making high-end home decor on a budget. So that's Dollar Tree DIYs, high-end dupes, thrift flips, and the occasional trash to treasure. Today, whimsical Easter is the theme of all these DIYs, so I hope that you enjoy. Let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite. Alright, so let's get started. I salvaged these legs from a table that I found on the side of the road. The table was beautiful, but it was in terrible condition, so all I could get are these little legs. I have 4 of these specific ones, but I saved another one for another project, and I also got these really long spindles as well. Anyways, I'm so excited to be creating more, so if you're interested in seeing what I do with the rest of them, go ahead and subscribe so that we can become friends. Okay, now I took this sandpaper from the Dollar Tree. It's an 80 grit, and as you can see, I'm just roughing it up, just trying to expose some of those raised edges, and I wanted it to be very, very distressed because we're going to be adding some paint, and I wanted the paint to have some texture and variety. So I go ahead and I do the same thing to all of the spindles. Now these are the 3 colors I'm using for this spring decor. Obviously use any colors you want. I just used violet pansy, lemonade, as well as summer peach. Now the summer peach looked very orange to me, so that's kind of what I was going for, kind of like a pastel colors. And I'm going to go ahead and paint this first spindle in the lightest color. Now I give it 4 treatments of the paint. So I start off with the first layer of paint, and then I wipe it off. And as you can see, I'm trying to give it like an aged effect. So I make sure to cover all the little nooks and crannies on the second coat. And I go ahead, I leave it on there for some time, maybe like 2 minutes, and then I wipe it off with an old rag. And I do this 3 times. Now, because the spindle itself is so dark, and I did not prime it because I didn't want to hide the distressing that we did on the wood. I didn't want to cover that, which is why I didn't put a white base color like a primer. I didn't use any primer or anything like that. So as you can see here, it just took maybe about 4 to 5 coats, and I got the desired effect that I wanted for my little carrot. So that's what we're making, if you haven't figured it out already. I just watered down the paint just a tad bit so that you are able to see some of that distressed wood underneath the paint. So for the darker shades, I added a little bit of water just to make it more translucent, and I went ahead with the same effects as I did before. So I'm going to give it 1 good coat and then wipe it off with the rag in between coats. Now I did notice on this one that on the final coat of paint, I like the distressing that this chippy brush gave. So I just used a clean, dry chippy brush and distressed it that way, and I love the effect that it gave for the last coat of paint. And that's what I chose to do for this carrot as well as the purple carrot. I'm sorry if you hear my children in the background. I'm a busy mother of 5, and it's really hard to keep them quiet, so I hope you enjoy this video regardless of what we're going to hear in the background. Okay, so as you can see here, I do the same thing for the purple carrot, although I was okay if a little bit of that dark wood showed in the background of the dark carrot, because I just thought it was beautiful. So once they're all painted and wiped down and painted again and wiped down, I went in and gave it a rough coat of paint, and then I just left it as is. Once all these carrots were dry, I went in and I sealed it with some white wax from Folk Art. So that's what's on my white chippy brush when you see me wiping right now. There's some white wax on there, and that's what's going to seal my paint job, as well as give it more of a soft antique effect. And I love white wax, so It was perfect in my opinion. Let me know what you would do with your spindles. Okay, so now I took some greenery from the Dollar Tree. Literally, it's just called greenery. This is as specific as I can get. I'm here showing you the tag. Please don't mind my dungeon hands with white wax. Okay, so once that was nice and dry, I'm gonna go ahead and use some of this natural jute cord from the Dollar Tree. And this is just gonna help me cover that screw at the top and adhere the greenery a little better. So I go ahead and I just use some hot glue and I wind the jute cord around that screw. And I just made sure to leave a little bit at the beginning, some excess jute, so that I'm able to tie a knot at the end. And then I double knot it and secure it with some hot glue. Because we don't trust jute twine around here on this channel. We always put a little dot of hot glue to just make sure it doesn't come undone. It's happened before, so to me at least. So now I kind of dangle the carrot in the air to see where it wants to rest. And then I hot glued the greenery to the front of the carrot. So I took some of the greenery picks off of the original full pick, and I took about 3 of these little pieces to cover the top of my carrots. You could obviously use more if you want to, but it just took one stem. Sorry, it just took one greenery pick to get all 3 of these carrots nice and bushy at the top. So as you can see here, you want to be very careful because the hot glue is very hot. You might want to use some finger protectors, but that's how our first carrot is looking. And I love how you can still see the sanding distressing underneath that paint job. And I do the same thing for all the carrots, so I'm not going to show you the other carrots. Now I took this canvas and I took off the canvas, and now I'm just going to wax the wood canvas with the antique wax. And I go ahead and I just give it one nice rich coat. I do water it down a little tiny bit just to make it a little lighter, and it actually helps spread the antique wax a little more. And I'm going to go ahead and just do all the sides, the insides and the outsides. Now I don't use any spackle on the inside of those little crevices there because I kind of like that. I think it looks more like a crate. So I like that effect, so I kept it as is. But you could always fill your projects with spackle if those little holes in the sides bother you. I just think it's really sweet and charming, especially with the carrots. So you could keep the carrots as is. You don't have to put them on a frame, but I want to hang them on the wall in my kitchen. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to take the jute twine cord and I'm just going to wind it around the top part of the frame. And I'm going to make sure that the bottom of the carrot does touch the bottom inside of the frame. And I'm kind of going to center it. At first I was going to glue it fixed in this position, but then my daughter came around and she started playing with the project and she kind of liked the movement of the carrots, so I just left them loose. I didn't try gluing them, but if you did want to glue yours, you would want to use some industrial strength glue, so super glue or Gorilla Glue, not hot glue, just because we use the antique wax. So hot glue would not work very well for you if you're doing wood on wood with the wax treatment on it. So now I'm just going to hot glue the jute twine around the top of the frame, as well as add some hot glue on the jute twine itself. So the jute twine is hot glued to itself, making it more stable. And I do the same thing for all the carrots. So once all the carrots are nice and in position, I go ahead and add this ribbon. I believe I got this ribbon at Family Dollar, but you know, use any ribbon you want. I just like how thick it was. And this ribbon is going to add a decorative feature to our whimsical Easter decor today. It's very colorful, these DIYs today, but if you like a neutral palette, you could totally use any colors that suit your style. So now I'm just going to add on this ribbon, and this ribbon's going to help the carrots stay on the front side of the frame. They're not going to go back and hit the wall or go into the frame. So that's another reason why I added this ribbon, to help the carrots stay forward on display. And as you can see now, I'm just going to pull that ribbon nice and taut, and then I'm going to hot glue both sides. I don't finish the back of my project because honestly, I'm trying not to spend too much after the holiday season. It's just I'm in the middle of craft room organization, and I just realized how much I have, and I just refuse to go out and buy extra products. So what I'm saying is, right now, I don't want to be spending extra money to finish the back of my projects. I'm not selling my projects. If I was, then I would be more, professional in my finishing. But since it's just going to hang in my home, and my kids are probably going to be shaking this around, no one's going to be turning my my decor pieces around in my home. So this works for me. But if you want more of a finished product, definitely paint the back if you want, or add ribbon around the back edge. But this is how it's looking. I think it's so cute. So now I'm going to take some of that same jute cord. I used the excess that we cut off the carrots when we hung them to the frame, and I just made a little finger bow, put it in the center of this ribbon, and now I want the edges of this ribbon to be very rustic. So I just scrunched it up and cut across, keep it nice and rugged. And now I'm going to pull and fray the edges to make it look more whimsical and fun and rustic. So that's a little bow that I made, and I wasn't sure where to put this bow, so it did take me some time to decide if I was going to put it at the bottom, at the top. I had no clue. Let me know in the comments where you would have put this bow. I just know that I did not want to hide the decorative details of this carrot, so I went back and forth for a long time. But I do show you where I decide to put it on after much deliberation. I had to call a friend. It was that serious. So now I took some of the jute cord as well as some of these beads I found at Dollar Tree. What? I cannot believe I found wood beads at Dollar Tree. And I just went ahead and I strung them on. So what I did was I just made a pattern that I liked with some Easter colors that I'm going to be using this spring in my home. And then I went ahead and I just kind of made the pattern inverse, so that when I hang it, both sides of the cord have the same pattern. I hope that makes sense, but maybe you can see what I mean. And then I just double knotted both ends, and then we're hot gluing those knots to the back of the frame. To help secure the hanger, I just added some masking tape over the hot glue, and making sure that the masking tape is not hanging over the edge of your frame so you can't see it from the front. But that's where I ended up putting up the bow, and I didn't want to hide the top of the carrots or the spindles. I think they're so beautiful. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this one. Joining us today in this challenge is myself, as well as Ellie from DIY from House to Home, Michelle of Moxie DIY in Java, Lisa Marie of Crafting My Best Life with Lisa, Indiana Jones from Crafting with Indiana Jones, and Carolyn of Craft Classy. So be sure to check out the channel links in my description box below, as well as the playlist link, to see all of our whimsical Easter DIYs. I know you're going to love them. For this next project, I'm going to be using this thrifted piece I got at the Goodwill. I had no idea what it was, but it looked very interesting and it intrigued me enough at $3. So I think it's a Nutcracker, but let me know in the comments if you know what this is. It's made out of wood and wicker, and I kind of love the rich color of it, but I am going to give it a light distressing. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a good cleaning, and once it's nice and clean, we're gonna go ahead and start with this distressing. Now I wanted to lighten it up a little bit, kind of give it that whimsical, dusty effect. So I'm gonna go ahead with this chippy brush and some of this chalk paint French linen. So I just go very lightly, taking off any excess paint off my brush and just starting on the edges, going all the way around the piece. And I didn't want to cover the hardware or the wicker as much, so that's what I chose to do. You could also paint this in one solid color. I think it would look good regardless, and I might do that next season. I change my mind all the time. So once it was fully painted and dried, I wanted to make this into a floral arrangement. So I took some floral foam from Dollar Tree. I just cut a slice into it and hot glued it to the center carefully, because it was kind of tricky to get it into this small piece. But once I got it in, I took some of the Spanish moss, also from Dollar Tree, and I took a little bit of it just to cover the floral foam. I did not hot glue the Spanish moss. I just spread it out. Very simple to do, and I just wanted to make sure the floral foam was not showing. So once I show you, I noticed that it's showing. So once it was all covered, I'm gonna add some of these carrots from the Dollar Tree, and I took some bamboo skewers just from my stash and carefully and slowly slid it into the bottom of these foam carrots, and then I cut off about an inch of the bamboo skewer, and then I just shove it in to where that floral foam is. And I chose to stand 3 of them up, so I put 2 in the front and 1 in the back, and then I just laid one of the other carrots across just to make it look like a little garden has been ransacked by little bunnies. So I thought that was super cute. Now I'm gonna take some of these moss bunnies. I only got 1 pack at Dollar Tree because I told you I'm trying my best not to overspend. So I took the other end of that bamboo skewer and I just shoved it to the bottom of this moss bunny and then shoved that into the floral foam. And I did that to another bunny more towards the center underneath the middle of the piece there. And then I hot glued the last little bunny to the top of the carrot. And I just thought it looked so cute. So now I'm gonna add some lavender pieces also from the Dollar Tree. I had them left over from a project I made last week in my last video, so I didn't want to waste those. And I think adding florals to your little arrangements makes it so whimsical. And then I just got this little floral piece from my stash, and I think that completed this project. But let me know in the comments what you think about this one, because I think it's so stinking cute. I am going to go pick up more moss bunnies because you guys know I love adding 5s of little things to represent my children. Let me know what you think about this one. I love it. It's so sweet. Okay, so now for this project, we're going to be using this giant egg. I got this egg at Michael's from a Michael's grab bag. It is broken because my children, they break everything. 4 boys. I mean, it's just a thing. So now I'm going to use this beautiful napkin to cover it. I'm going to try decoupaging this. Yes, I know it's ambitious, but I'm going to do it. So now I'm going to go ahead and use some masking tape to separate the layers of this napkin. So what you do is just cut a little piece of blue tape, masking tape, and it pulls off the plies. So simple. Now, this is kind of a tragedy, but I figured I'd show you anyways because we all learn from each other's mistakes. So I was going to try to drape this napkin over and kind of tailor it so that it kind of fit perfectly on this egg. However, so as you can see here, I'm using some of those clips from the Dollar Tree. You could also use clothespins, whatever you like, just to hold it in place. And then I would remove one clip and kind of trace the the circumference of the egg onto the napkin. Now, first off, I wish I would have done it on the other side of the napkin without the print on it. So that was my first mistake. My second mistake was that this napkin shifted and I had no idea. So my markings were not accurate. That was my second mistake. Now, my third mistake is that I should have left about half an inch of excess when I made the mark. I should have made a half an inch extra border around the markings that I made on this egg. Then it would have probably fit better, but since the napkin shifted, it just all went downhill from here. It still turns out really cute, but it's not as perfect as I originally intended, and I forgive myself. And it's just crafting. Let's just have fun, right? Okay, so you can use any napkin. I think if you would have used a floral napkin, it would have been beautiful as well. So I might do that in the future. Use a floral napkin. Use not a checkered board. But since we're going whimsical, Alice in Wonderland kind of came to my mind, and that's why I went for this beautiful MacKenzie-Childs napkin. Given to me by my sweet friend, I have to mention her, Jackie Burns at Jackie Burns Creations, sent me this beautiful napkin, and I couldn't waste it. I only have 3. She was so generous because these napkins are not cheap, y'all. They're not cheap. All right, so I gave this whole egg a coat of Mod Podge. Once the Mod Podge was dry, I added a coat of paint. Now this paint is the color Mauve Dust, and it kind of matched the streaks inside of these little squares. They're called drag lines. So the drag lines had that Mauve Dust color, and I figured it would match perfectly if I had any spaces left in between, and I totally do. But it's all right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'll link the website MacKenzie-Childs in case you guys want to pick up some of these napkins for yourself. They are not cheap, but they're very high quality, very forgiving. As you'll see in a little bit, I have to lift this up, and they did not rip as much as a Dollar Tree napkin or another, lower quality napkin would have ripped. So now I'm going to go ahead and start decoupaging, starting at the top middle of this egg. And this is mistake number 4. I forgot to separate another layer. There's another ply under here, and I had no idea. And I start realizing when I'm pressing it down, because they're causing wrinkles, the decoupage medium is sticking to the second layer of the second ply, so it's not falling as flat as it should. And I realized that, and I try to pull it off before the decoupage medium fully sets. So here I go, ripping off the second ply. Once I realized, guys, I was a hot mess, but I was determined. And I never give up. I don't know if you guys know. I always think a project can be saved. So if you have a project that you want to chuck and you want to know how to be saved, send me an email at Arrows DIY, and I will tell you. We can make a whole thing, a whole conference of creators to tell you, you know what? I'm going to start a Facebook group. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a Facebook group called Save the Project, and you'll get a whole bunch of creators telling you how you can save your project from the garbage. Because I think the majority of our projects, if we stick to them, overlook these little differences, can come out great. Anyways, back to the video. Sorry, I had to rant. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. So now, as you can see, I'm starting at the top, and I'm decoupaging with a very small, soft paintbrush. And I'm applying the decoupage medium to the top and the bottom in a light coat. And as you can see here, I'm tugging, but you never want to do that. You never want to tug your napkin from the bottom. I did, because this is a high quality napkin, and I still got about 1 or 2 rips. So, I'm just showing you what I did. I'm not saying this is the best method, but I'm showing you because I did it. So I have to show you so you see the whole project. And I hope you get inspiration, which is my point. I just want you guys to get some inspiration for your home decor. Have fun. Don't sweat the small stuff. Now, as you see here, I kind of pleated it a little bit, and then I used the paintbrush with decoupage medium, the Mod Podge on top, and I kind of manipulate the napkin to try to keep that checkerboard pattern intact. I tried my best, but this is not a decoupage video, okay? I'm sure you can find better tutorials somewhere else. This is just a design inspiration idea. Forgive me. So now you see I have this massive gap on the corner, and I decided to make this more ornate, kind of like a whimsical royal egg, kind of like a Faberge egg. I think that's how you say it. Sorry about the background noise. It always, when I start recording, everything starts making noise. Now I added 2 of these giant ferns from the Dollar Tree on both sides, and then I added a lighter color one to the back of my egg. This is the back of my egg. I'm just adding this fern in case you see it when you're at my house. And I'm trying to cover the seams that didn't match up perfectly. So that's what I'm doing. For the front of the egg, I try to pick the best looking side. And that's what we're going to try to showcase with some florals. So I hot glue the leaves, I hot glue the ferns, I hot glue all the things, all the little leaves to the best of my ability. I did not hot glue all of them because I did want some movement, some variety in the fern. And now I'm going to use some of these daisies from Dollar Tree. I think they're beautiful. I did not cover the bottom of the egg with the napkin, so I'm going to use some of the leaves from the daisy picks, and I'm going to cover the bottom just to cover the raw edges of the napkin, as well as give the flowers some background, just make it look more natural. I'm also going to take some of these green wildflower leaves. I can't remember if there were actually flowers on this pick, but I'm using the leaves off that pick, as well as these white flowers from the Dollar Tree. And as you can see, I've just been putting them around, kind of making it look whimsical, like a enchanted forest, adding on the daisies and the florals. You can use any florals you like. I just bought these last spring, and I figured this would be the perfect project to use them because I haven't used them in a year, and we're crafting our stash. Okay, so once I have 2 of the daisies there, they're in a staggered position. I don't put them side by side. So I kind of zigzag the flower formation around the bottom of this egg. And I do add some wildflowers in between the daisies. And I just go all around this egg. I know the colors are loud, I know, but I do kind of go crazy with my spring decor. So I have neutral spring decor for my living room, and then sometimes I just go crazy in my kitchen. My kitchen's just pops of color. So as you can see here, I'm just sticking more florals wherever I think they need it, and I focus my most favorite florals in the front. So this is the front of my egg, and now this is the back of my egg, and I'm just making sure that everything looks balanced. I don't want too much flowers on one side than the other side. And I also put some hot glue to open up some of the daisies wherever I feel like the daisies need some help. And then I think that was it. Now with the last part I think I added on was a stand. Now you could put this egg on a beautiful candlestick, but I have a lot of candlestick projects, so I decided to go for something more chunky. So I went for this candle holder. It says homemade on it, and I got it at Dollar Tree, and I don't want this to be permanent because you guys know I transition my projects all year round. So I'm just going to use hot glue. If you want a permanent hold, you would want to use something more permanent like Gorilla Glue or Super Glue, your favorite, whatever you want to use. And I just had to move the flowers out the way and hot glue it in position. And I liked it because I thought it added a glass element to this very fancy schmancy whimsy decor. Let me know what you think. So what'd you think? Did you like my whimsical Easter DIYs? I hope you really did enjoy them. I had so much fun making them. Now, once you're done with my video, don't forget to leave me a comment below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you as part of my crafty family here on YouTube. Once you're done here, don't forget to click that playlist link I left for you down in the description box as well as in my comment box. That way you can see what all the other wonderful ladies made. They are so creative and I know you're not gonna be disappointed. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Take care, God bless, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye friends. If you like this video, here's another one you might enjoy.